This is the Bose SoundTouch Hybrid application. I built this because Bose is getting rid of its cloud services in May, and I didn't want to lose any functionality whatsoever in my suite of Bose SoundTouch speakers. So essentially what this application is, as you can see by the diagram, it replaces the Bose SoundTouch Cloud Service with your own private cloud service. It's a Docker application running on, in my case, it's QNAP, but it could be anything that supports Docker. And it's paired with Music Assistant streaming service or application. Again, it's all open source. So I just want to quick show you functionality. So you can see it's a web app. I have the mobile aware here, and I'm going to demo it here. I have a lot of logging over here. So the first thing, I don't want to lose any of the preset capabilities. So that's where the hybrid bridge comes into play. I can hit a preset button just like we've always done, and you can program the presets and they'll continue to function as before, but instead of going to the Bose Cloud Service, they're going to go up to your own local private cloud. So you can select any of the presets. They're designed so you can still use the presets for a native source, like on your local file server or radio station. But I wanted to still be able to do the presets on these speakers. For example, and I can click them here too, but let's see, I'll hit 4 on this speaker, and you can have independent music sources just like we were used to before. As you can hear, this is bringing up KJazz. I have dynamic sorting here, so that's a radio station. But I could choose to group them just like before. So I can change an active speaker or any other speaker, and I can sync it to a master that's already playing. I could turn it off, but in this case, I'll just sync it to this speaker, which is the family room speaker. Again, I have it. This is for the mobile, meaning I have it dynamically sorting, so it's always putting active speakers and things above. And so now you can hear that it's joined. You can see on the logs it's doing a lot of buffering. This is all part of the synchronization between the hardware and the software, because the back-end cloud service doesn't know anything about the speakers, and the speakers don't know anything about the cloud service. It's, because how Bose did it is hidden to us. So this synchronizes everything. So you can do, well, in this case, it's only one song up here, so let me switch to this group speaker. You can switch a preset. I could have switched the preset here, and now it's bringing up the next group speaker, and you have your group volumes and stuff. I can, leave the group just like before. In this case, I just turn it off. I'm doing it on the mobile app here so you can see. And so now we just have one speaker. I can do, go to the next track. It's buffering. And I had to optimize a lot of stabilization for the synchronization between the hardware and the software. So there's a lot of sort of internal logic that is looping through and checking all these transition states. And obviously it's all open source. It's all on GitHub. You can tweak it for your own network. Anyway, so I went to the next song. So this is your basic, all your controls here for your speakers, and this is all, you know, dynamically set up in a ENV file. You can do speaker management, just like your app, so you can see all of the capabilities of your speaker, the IP address where they're connected, all of the maintenance things that you might do, setting the reduction base. But one of the key things is being able to use the presets. So you flash your presets here, it sets them all to these internal URLs. The documentation goes more into that, but however, you can still override a preset if you want to use it even after May of 2026. You'll still be able to use the native SoundTouch app to program presets to a direct, like, URL radio station or like your local NAS source. So this is where you do the admin, and then all the endpoints, if you read the API documentation. But, you know, you can go in and see, you know, this is a deep scan of the endpoints. I used a lot of this to figure out how to make these hybrid bridge presets. So anyway, so that's the speakers. Then, of course, you know, you can switch the theme and all of that stuff. But then the other point is, and you can see how you can play it by hitting the presets, but then obviously there's a library manager. And because I'm going through Music Assistant, it's on the diagram, you know, it has a lot of music sources that you can go to, and it's all agnostic in terms of how you interface to it once you've defined the providers. In my case, I'm using it for Spotify radio in my local NAS, even though I could go directly to source on my local NAS, just so I can have an integrated library and a standard API. I redefine my local NAS here as well, so I could go here and, you know, type in Mozart, and it's actually going to my local file server to find all this information. See, it comes back here. I got Mozart. Hang on, I'll end this. And you can turn off all your speakers up here if you wanted, or on the app here. But let me go back to the library manager. You set your presets here. These are the physical presets. So in your library, you can say, for example, you know, you can see here where anything you've played, anything in your library, setting the preset is as simple as setting it here. Otherwise, it's in your favorite list. You can set, well, this is a radio station, so you can't set shuffle or repeat, but you could say, like, for example, this instrumental funk, I could define that to my preset 6, and I could say I wanted to repeat all, and I could do a shuffle track. I can save it, and now I could literally go back and see. I don't have to do it here, but I could go, you know, here on this speaker. What we do is save it to 6, so I can hit preset 6. You know, even without the app having the interface running or anything, you can, you'll run this unattended, just like the way we were used to with our other apps. So you can see now I'm playing this track. You know, if you go to the next track. So that's how you assign your presets. I'm interrupting my original demo because I realized that even though I don't use presets individually by speakers, I always manually sync them so they're all the same across all my speakers. I realized that folks might still want the ability to assign the presets, the physical presets per speaker. So I went in here and changed this. So now you still have the global presets, which is what I just showed you, but you can also assign them to each individual speaker. And what will happen is the bridge will look and say what speaker just requested a preset, and it's going to look here first, and if it can't find a preset value for that specific speaker, then it'll go back and look at the global. So for example, here on the Bose Den, I have 3 specific presets set, and if I press the button on those, for example, I will go over to here on the Bose Den and hit preset 1. It will bring up the specific preset that's defined to that speaker. And you can see that's what's playing on the Bose Den. But the global preset was this Diana Krall. So you can see how it used the presets defined specifically to the speaker. And then of course the way you would assign it, we have to update the modal, so that's what we did here. What I just showed you in the demo, you could assign it to a specific slot. Well now, when you assign it to a preset, the default will be all for global all speakers, but you could override it now and save it to a specific speaker. So that's what I'm doing right here. I'm defining Traveler to the Bose Den preset. And now if I go look at the Bose Den, you can see that Traveler here is now assigned to the preset. And one thing I did was, before the favorites list would show anything that wasn't assigned, and before that was by definition global. So, but now what I've done is I realized if you start assigning all kinds of favorites to different speakers, you still really want them to show up in your favorites list instead of hunting around for them on the different speakers. So I've left the filter criteria here to say, show all your favorites as long as they're not assigned to a global preset. So for example here, this preset is still in the favorites list over here because it's assigned to a specific speaker. So anyway, so that's the new enhancement functionality that I realized really should be in place right before I release this version out to everyone. So we'll go back to the rest of the demo. I can go back to the library manager. It'll actually take you to what's now playing. If you're playing multiple sources, you can pick it from here. You can see your recents. This is all coming from Music Assistance, which is on the server, and that's why I kind of like it for any of the sources, including my local NAS. You can see I have my Mozart here. So that's not going, to an external music source. It's just going to my file server. But everything is going through Music Assistant, although you don't have to. And then you could also say you want to just play something directly. I could be in my library and I could just override this or play it on any speaker. I could say play on Bose Kitchen, and instead I could change it to override it and play this without going to a preset or without going to the other control. So now I'm playing this. So, and then the search, like I said, the search capability in Library Manager, I'll do it here. You know, this one, for example, is Spotify, so I could do, you know, for example, Diana Krall. And I have it, here's the playlist. It came back real time, or I could do just, you know, albums. And I can play them directly from here. So the idea is you have the full functionality that we always had with our SoundTouch speakers. And so that's what this application is. So I got lots of documentation. It's up on GitHub. I have a whole document. Let's see that. That down. Let me add the. Now I'm playing through my wireless link. That is my Bose Studio, is my SoundTouch wireless link. So it's actually playing through here. Turn them all off. And so that's the application. Like I said, it's on GitHub. I actually started working on it in December before the API was published, sort of reverse engineering and getting what I could. The big secret was finding the endpoint call to see all the supported endpoints. But anyway, yeah, so there it is, have at it. Oh, it runs DPNP, but it could run AirPlay too, but this is all in my documentation. So yeah, have at it and see what you guys think and see what kind of changes or improvements you can make to it or questions, whatever. So again, that's what it is, local, going to the file server, getting all these services from Music Assistant. And my documentation explains why I picked that one. And you have all the same functionality as we always used to. Cool.